Hey, I am Dr. Brandon Shern. This is Empower Me Holistic Counseling, and welcome back to the final booster shot for dealing with anxiety. All right. So, okay, now you know what anxiety is, you know what the key points are, the things to consider, and you know what questions to ask to identify, right? Remember, it's the circuit breaker that you need to identify the which circuit has been blown or over experiencing an oversurge in power in that sense. And if you haven't watched those videos, what are you waiting for? Pause this one, go watch those other ones because this video will not make sense if you do not have the knowledge from the other video. So you pause this, go watch those, and then you can come back and I'll be right here. Maybe something like this, something like this. I don't know because I move a lot. So go watch those videos and come back and then pick up right here because I'm going to talk about the questions that you might have had pop in your mind while you were going through that experience. Okay, of because I gave you 6 questions in the last video that you need to work through, um, and you need to ask yourself because that's going to allow you to access or identify the circuit breaker that the circuit inside of the panel that you need to reset, right, so that the energy can come back and basically deal with that stuff. Okay, so as we dive into these questions, right? So these are some when you dive into the answers, right? Let me rephrase that. As I dive into the some of the common questions that I get as I'm working with people, um, here are some of the things that I don't want you to rush through this. Take time, rewind this video. All of this stuff is going to stay in. Remember, I told you from the beginning that this is going to be a raw piece of content, unedited as much as possible. Sometimes I might stop and I might re-record a video if something just outside of the norm happens, like my phone goes off or something like that. But my sneezes, my coughs, my whatever, I'm going to leave that stuff in because you would see that if you were in session with me. Okay, so let's go. Now, with addressing anxiety, sometimes you want to identify that you have to identify the source or the sources. Now, remember, this is an essential piece, okay? Because this is what has caused you to start experiencing the anxiety. Whenever I talk about disorders, in a sense, some of the main ones, right? There are some that are developmental and they're connected to the way that the brain develops or is I'm just coin a word, de-developing, right? So that is neurodevelopmental disorder or neurocognitive disorder, right? So those things, even those things are the result of something, but the experience is different. So, but in these other ones, it's easier, it's harder to identify the cause of those, right? So what causes dementia, what causes Alzheimer's, what causes anxiety, what causes autism, I should say, what causes ADHD. It's difficult. We understand that it's in the brain and it's neurologically based, but we haven't quite determined what set of neurons or neurotransmitters are off or causes the development or the degrowth or the dysfunction of the way the brain fires. Okay, even traumatic brain injuries, right? So we know that it's dealing with the neurons in the brain, but we don't know exactly which neuron or site. So that's a little bit difficult. But everything else, it is easier when it's easy to identify the source. You just have to spend time with it. All right. Asking the questions, the 6 questions that I'm not going to repeat here. You got to go back and watch the video before this, and that'll get you the 6 questions. All right. So understand that it might take some time to locate the source or the sources. When you try to rush through this process, you will not benefit. So because again, you're going to skim the surface and you deal with the things that seem to be needle movers, that seem to be the primary thing, but it's actually not. Okay, excuse me. You can't Google yourself, right? And this is this is what I tell people a lot, because what happens? Google is the best and worst thing that has ever happened to us, right? The search engines, uh, because we have access to a vast amount of data, and we can, have a thought pop up or say, I want to know. And then you just, even as you start typing in the search engine, it starts, AI, the algorithms and stuff of what people have searched in the past begins to, they start trying to finish that sentence for you. And then you can just, and then you get a bunch of you get a response overload, really, right? And you have absolutely no idea what to do with it. But in this case, you don't have the ability to do that to yourself. And until such a time that we have the ability to Google ourselves, you have to sit and actually um, do the work, right? You have to do the work, the thought process. And that's what really has created some of the problems also. Um, we have such access to rapid information that spending time thinking about something we don't do a lot of, right? Now, then you want to determine if you have the ability to navigate the issue or issues on your own, right? Now, this will take some humility because we often think that we are stronger than we are when it relates to some things. The truth is, we all encounter things that are beyond our capabilities. I encounter things that are beyond my capabilities all the time. And it takes a strength, a certain set of strength, a certain type of strength to say that thing is too big. I probably should go reach out to somebody. I should check in with someone, right? It's not a weakness, it's a strength. Okay. So we all have things that, you know, test our abilities. So, we identify those, um, and if you go through the questions, you will know which ones you can and cannot. Okay. The things that are outside of your control, you might need some help with letting go and learning how to let go. If there are things that you are putting off dealing with, what's causing you to put off dealing with, right? You might need some help with that. Okay. So in this case, then the follow-up, the final thing, the final thought is that you want to connect yourself, get connected with the qualified mental health professional, right? And I don't say this enough, and I don't say this a lot in these videos, but these videos are not intended to serve or supplement mental health services, right? I, there is so much limitation that I have. I can't answer follow up questions. I can't, I'm not in the space with you right now as you are watching this video, and so your thoughts. I'm recording this, and I don't see you, so I don't have the ability to look at your nonverbals. I don't have the ability to follow up with you. None of that stuff. So this is not meant to supplement. This is just kind of almost like a self-help book, right? You get a self-help book and you say, man, I like this piece or I like this piece, but I really don't know how to execute it. I've done all the work, but I don't know how to execute it. And now you seek the services of a competent professional. Okay. And you take your time and you work. If you take your time and you work through the exercises and that I gave you specifically, collect and watch this entire section, this collection of videos specifically related to anxiety. Even when you reach out to a professional, it becomes less of a thing. It becomes less of a sticking point because now you have a clear idea of what you want to work on. And that will guide the sessions and that will cause you to spend less money on, you know, on therapy sessions in that sense. Or if you say, you know what, I still kind of want to kind of keep contact with this person, then at least you've created a relationship, and now you get to see if the person is trying to get you and trap you for life, or if they really want to get you to the point where you need to be, and for the point for them to get fired, right? Remember, my goal is to get fired as fast as humanly possible. And but I won't fire me, you have to fire me, right? That's I tell my these are things that I share with my clients. I won't fire me, you have to fire me. Now I will fire clients if they are not doing the work, if they're perpetually, you know um not showing up or not taking our time serious, and it becomes more of a of a, running in circles because they are afraid to deal with the stuff. And so at that point, it's the timing is not right. So I fire them, not saying that they can't come back. I'm just saying that this is probably not the best time to deal with that stuff, right? So get a clear set of what you might need what you might need help with. Take that, use the questions in the other video, which means you have to go watch the other video if you haven't watched the other video, or go back and refresh your memory if you've watched the video but you know didn't really sit and write the questions down so that you can go through them on your own. So whatever you need to do, get what you need from this stuff. Okay, I'm here to empower you. I'm here to work with you in a sense of giving you these tools and trying to um, break down stuff that I see a lot inside of sessions and say globally, how can I help people so that we begin to become less fearful of anxiety, less fearful of having traumatic experiences, and say, okay, I know these are some things that I need to address, that I can deal with, I can navigate on my own, but these things I don't, and I need help with. Okay. And I'm gonna reach out to somebody. Right. So thank you for letting me into your ears, into your brain, and come back for the next dose. You don't know what kind of dose it's going to be, but just come back for the next dose. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Um, I do know what we'll be talking about. We're gonna be talking about some other stuff. The next dose is gonna cover some non traditional mental health related stuff. Okay, it's gonna be more along the lines of how to how to set up and get yourself in a proper mode for um, you know exercise and other kinds of habits that you want to increase or maybe begin to incorporate into your life, and how to stay consistent with that stuff. All right, so those are going to be the next weekly those are the next doses of empowerment, and I look forward to seeing you next time.